Alrighty, so we got a really good fight here. It's Shane Young versus Omar Morales. So Shane Young, he came back, I think a while ago, a couple months ago, got knocked out pretty quickly. But that other guy, he's a bit of a prospect himself. But yeah, in turn, he's only had 2 minutes of cage time in the last 26 months. He's had a bit of time off, whereas Morales has been fairly busy. Morales is also the bigger guy. I think he's coming down from 155. I'm not actually sure how he makes this weight class, but because he's a big guy, he's got a good frame for the division. And he's got a 3-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage in this one. So in the striking for this one, Shane Young, we kind of know his style now. He comes forward, he's got constant volume, constant forward pressure. He looks to work the body as well. Pretty much just put a exhausting pace on you and just look to wear you out and just out tough you pretty much. Omar Morales also looks to come in with the forward pressure. He likes to counter a lot. He will go shot for shot, like common guys who spar quite a bit. But yeah, so he will go shot for shot. Shane Young keeps a pretty heavy pace, so I'm interested to see if Omar ups his volume in this fight. But I do think he has the speed advantage and also the power advantage on the feet. So for Omar, he has a nice counter too, has a nice jab as well. He doesn't use it enough for my liking, and a very good low calf kick as well that you saw in the Contender series that he had a lot of success with. A few things on the feet that these guys have trouble with. For Shane Young, he has trouble closing the distance against longer fighters. Eventually he did wear down Austin Arnett, but at the start of the fight, Austin Arnett was jabbing him up at distance and pretty much landing at will. For Omar Morales, when he does get pushed back to the fence, he will kind of look for that one big shot, or when, he's on the back foot, he will go into really heavy counter mode and load up on one punch pretty much and just fall behind the volume. Saw that in the Jakadze fight. Jakadze was just pretty much touching him. Omar was looking for the haymaker pretty much. So how these guys win? So for Shane Young, he's got good volume, good cardio, good pacings. He always seems to be fighting at like 75%. Like he never seems to go all out for it. He kind of just comes forward. He's slow. He's hittable, but he just doesn't stop coming forward and stop being in your face. So yeah, it just wears opponents down, and just the constant forward pressure really hurts them. For Morales, he's got a good chin. He's durable. He's tough. It's handy for his style because he's generally the one coming forward, and now he has good cardio as well. But he can be a little low volume. So especially if you get into his head, he'll just try and knock you out pretty much. I think DC said it really well. He said Morales is a very prideful man. Like if you test his ego, he's gonna react. And I think that's pretty spot on for Morales and just his psyche. But yeah, he will look for that perfect shot and, try and knock you out, once you do get in his head. So I can definitely see Shane Young coming in with a bit of gamesmanship, trying to get into Morales' head. I would like to see that. And for Shane Young, how he loses fights, he's fairly hittable. His head doesn't move much. He's got predictable movement. So yeah, just all the characteristics of a very hittable opponent. But he has a good chin to back it up. Alright, so past the victory for these two. Alright, Shane Young, obviously we want to get the constant pressure and volume. We don't want to be on the back foot here. And when Morales throws his two, you can definitely look to fire back with something because he can overextend on his two quite frequently. But also mix in the wrestling, I didn't touch on it really in this breakdown, but just mix it in just to make him think about something else. It's also, just good thing to change the rhythm of the fight. So, because he hasn't really gone to it in previous fights, so that's why I didn't really mention it. And I don't think his wrestling is all that, but it's just something to mix in. And for Morales, I'd like to see some low calf kicks. He finally got an orthodox opponent. He's been facing a lot of southpaws recently, so it's finally open for him, and he had pretty good calf kicks that he showed in the Contender series. Also, just work the body, just kind of mix it in. Don't headhunt, which he generally does, but Yeah, just don't headhunt because you know his chin's pretty good. It's probably going to be holding up to your shots pretty well. Obviously, if you're having success and you feel like you're hurting him with the shots to the head, then keep going to it. But you know, mix it in a little bit as well. Also, just something you can absolutely go for is the straight elbow when he's covering up as he closes distance. Because Shane Young, he'll kind of just cover up to close distance and then look to fire. So he's not really throwing anything. He's not a big counter puncher. So it's something you can look for as he's closing distance. Because yeah, you did throw it in the Chikadze fight, so it's good. I like that technique, and not a lot of people throw it. The straight elbow, just standing. Alright, so how I see this one going. I think this could definitely be fight of the night. Two durable strikers who like putting the pressure on. I think Morales is the cleaner, more polished striker, but you know Shane Young just puts it on you, man. He's a dog in there, I swear. And early, I think Morales will be landing the better shots and getting his movement going. Plus the leg kicks as well. I see him, you know, having coming back with those, bringing him back into his game. But as the fight goes longer, I think Young will be having more success as he drags Omar into like a brawl or a dogfight. But I still believe Omar will be more effective through the whole fight. And I think Omar, he could get the finish, whereas I don't believe Shane Young will be able to finish Omar. But I think Omar is going to do a bit of damage in the early part of this fight, but still have a bit of success in the later parts of the fight to really, you know, make the judges give the fight to him. I think he's going to be landing the more damaging shots just throughout the whole 15 minutes. Alright, so let's have a look at the betting lines. Alrighty, so the prediction is Morales by decision. I think Shane Young's tough enough to take a lot of his shots and will probably see the bells. And we'll see the scorecards, and I think Morales will get it done based on damage. Also, I believe Morales wins around 58 to 60% of the time. So according to these lines, he's winning a little bit more than that. It's around 65%, I think. Which, you know, I think is a little bit too high on Morales. I'm not rushing to bet Shane Young, though, at that price, just because I think Morales, I have a real hard time seeing him winning, but you know, you can never count out that that dog that just keeps coming forward and non-stop volume, doesn't gas out. So yeah, it's just kind of hard to bet against those type of guys. But yeah, some bets I was looking at was Morales if he was over like $1.80, but that's not going to happen, I don't think. Also, not Shane Young inside the distance, because I think Morales has, you know, got a very underrated chin. I think he's very tough, and I think Shane Young will have a hard time getting him out of there. At like $1.30, $1.25, as like a parlay piece. I thought that was pretty much a lock. But they haven't got props coming out yet, because this fight's been on and off. It still may be off at the time I'm uploading this. But yeah, hopefully it's on. It'll be a great fight. And yeah, I'll be keen to see what the props look like when they come out.